Hi guys, it's Abby. This video is on Sun in the 7th house. The Sun in your natal chart represents your ego, your life purpose, and your creative energy. It's essentially the heart of your natal chart, just like the Sun is the heart of the solar system. The Sun also represents the father, which I keep forgetting to say in these videos. Where the Sun is in your chart, as in what house your Sun is in, represents what life areas you want to shine in and where you're going to take the most pride in. The 7th house is the house of partnerships. So legal partnerships, marriage and business partnerships. This is where you have an equal give and take with a partner. It also represents the law, and it can represent open enemies. And this is the natural house of Libra. So I'm going to explain what the 7th house is first before we talk about Sun in the 7th house. The 7th house is exactly opposite of the 1st, and Libra is exactly 180 degrees from Aries. So this is the first sign / house where it's not about me, it's about you. So if Aries is me, Libra is you. So Libra has this very interesting dichotomy because they're all about balance, and that's why they're represented by the scales. They're about balance, but they often do this crazy, wild, like bipolar swinging in order to get there. Everything that Aries is, Libra is almost the opposite of, yet they're connected because opposite signs are very similar. So whereas Aries is completely direct, just A to B, very open, very honest, Libra wants to be in a partnership because Libra doesn't see itself clearly. Libra sees itself in the reflection of the eyes of the person it's with. That's the best way I can describe Libra. Likewise, the 7th house is where we end up projecting all of our inner qualities onto other people because the 1st house represents us, me. It represents my body, my image, my physicality. So my 7th house represents you. And that's why it's a house of partnerships. The descendant specifically represents who we are attracted to, but also how we see other people in the world because it's the opposite of the ascendant, which is the role that we play. The 7th house is an angular house, so it's a very significant house. So if you have your Sun here, it's important. The Sun doesn't naturally do very well in Libra or the 7th house because in Aries it's exalted. And in the 1st house, it's called an accidental exaltation. So in the 7th house, it's debilitated. What that means is that since the Sun represents your individuality and your ego, it's weakened because you feel like you have to do everything with a partner when you have Sun in the 7th house. And also, you can't see yourself clearly, like I said, because the 7th house is what we project onto other people. So you're projecting your own qualities onto someone else. It's almost like you have this inner struggle that you have to play out with someone else. When you think about it, that's what an opposition in the natal chart is. It's quintessentially 0 degrees Aries versus 0 degrees Libra. So it's this sort of like seesaw effect where you usually take stance of one and project the other onto somebody else, and then you have to play out this sort of inner dynamic experience with somebody else in the outer world. Something that people with Sun in the 7th house do really well is they're very good in social situations. So they tend to learn early on how to be charming because part of the role you play is to take pride in having partners or other people do things for you or with you. So in order to get people to like you and to do things with you, you have to be charming, tactful, diplomatic. You have to think about other people, and 7th house Suns often do think about other people first, just like Libra thinks about the other person naturally. So it's not that you aren't egotistical when you have Sun in the 7th house. You are, in a way. It's just that you don't easily accept your own ego drives independently. Like you can't do what Aries does, which is to go out there and just do things alone. 7th house Suns might have seen their fathers as not able to stand alone. So you might have seen him as someone who somehow his ego or his manliness somehow wasn't accepted by others, or maybe he had to kind of do everything with a partner. He might have even been kind of bipolar, to be honest with you, because when someone has Sun in the 7th house, there's this like seesaw effect in their personality. As a result, you didn't feel like your ego drives and your individuality was easily accepted by others. Sometimes people with Sun in the 7th house can have this almost like aggressive need to prove their ego, so they can even come across as more egotistical because they're trying to prove themselves. Another thing you might do if you have Sun in the 7th house is, without even being aware of it, is you can be manipulative. Now that's like a negative expression of Libra, and it would be a negative expression of Sun in the 7th house, but I have to address it because it can be something that a 7th house Sun does, but not even knowingly, because we, again, project our 7th house qualities onto other people. We don't own up to them easily. 7th house Sun takes a lot of pride in their partnerships, so you want a partner that you can be really proud of and someone who shines, so you can kind of almost shine through them. But you have to be careful because you can also project your bad qualities and pride and such things onto your partner. So you might say, you know, it's that person that's like egotistical, and really you're the one acting like an ass. You kind of have to be careful not to do that, or not to avoid confrontation when it needs to happen. It's just a part of life, but for whatever reason, 7th house Suns just don't really like that. This is the best placement for business partners. So if you're someone who wants to have success, you probably should have a business partner, someone who can kind of let you shine when need be, because you really need to shine within a partnership, even though you probably don't want to own up to that because you have Sun in the 7th house. But you need someone that also is a strong partner. Just like your marriage partner has to be someone you're proud of, your business partner also has to be someone you take pride in. This is a great placement for anyone who has to do anything like diplomatic in their jobs. So politicians, you know, this is a great placement for politicians. This is also a placement for someone who has to be like a mediator, a lawyer, anything that has to do with the law, a judge. You have this natural Libra ability to weigh the pros and cons. In fact, you might not be very decisive. You might actually spend more time trying to get other people to make decisions. So that's Sun in the 7th house. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And thanks for watching and liking and subscribing. Bye.